Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel World of Wrestling at this time. If you are not subscribed, you're brand new to the channel. You've just come to this channel and want to check out what I have to say about these wonderful events of professional wrestling. I've come to the conclusion that there's really no other wrestling shows to really review at this time besides Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and AEW Dynamite. Impact Wrestling have tried catching, really can't get a big intrigue for the characters aren't all that big of a deal, and just a lot of BS with that. And I got rid of the Impact Plus wrestling subscription. I was paying $7.99 a month, and I wasn't even barely using it, so I just got rid of that. UFC, I can't really go off a story. There's really no storylines. It's just a bunch of fights. If you're a fan of UFC, you watch it because you want to see somebody get their asses knocked out. So this channel is about professional wrestling with storyline build and octane wrestling and entertaining shit and just emotional driven type stuff. Not that we get that from WWE anymore, but still, you get my point. So tonight I sat through 3 hours of miserable fucking wrestling for Monday Night Raw, which I haven't done in a couple of months. I mean, I've tuned into the episodes on my own free time, skipping through things just to keep up with storylines, get to understand what the hell's going on, which wasn't much. I could get through like the entire show within an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours, and that's all it would take me when technically it's 3. And in most cases, I'd actually skip the commercials, of course, because that's boring as fuck. And I'd skip anything that it didn't seem important to me to watch, which is most of it, but I sat through some of the stuff that most people had just said, fuck it, who cares? But I sat through the majority of it, only skipping maybe a couple of matches here or there in a show. So, in some episodes, I didn't catch it all. So that's just me in a nutshell, what I've been doing lately since I stopped doing the reviews of Raw and SmackDown, but I'm going to bring them back onto the channel as well as NXT. So here's my schedule, guys. My schedule is this. Monday Night Raw, either Monday or Tuesday, I will be uploading those videos. AEW is going to remain on Wednesday night, of course, and then I will be doing on Thursday night NXT after I get a chance to watch it around. I'm probably watch it around 6 o'clock or so at night after I'm done with dinner, and then come in here and do my review for you guys to give you my overall take on the show, which I haven't watched NXT in forever. Truthfully, I have not watched NXT at all for months. So I don't even know what the fuck's going on with them lately. I heard something's going on with Finn Balor, but I didn't catch that episode. I think it was for last week's episode with the World Championship. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. And then you got Pat McAfee with Pete Dunne and Danny Burch and some other dude. I forgot. Orny Lorcan, I believe. Yeah. Danny Burch and Orny Lorcan. And they're having their own faction going on for whatever fucked up reason, but whatever. That's not here or there. Let's get into Monday Night Raw. All right? So let's get into it right now. At this point in time, you guys are not going to hear anything positive come out of my mouth about this. Clearly. Clearly, you're not going to hear anything come out of my mouth about this show. There wasn't one redeeming quality about this show that was at all any good except for one thing and one thing only. I'm not going to really go in order about this. I'm just going to go over everything here and then in the order I want to do it and just kind of give you guys the overall reason why I think the show is just god-awful, which is pretty self-explanatory, to be quite frank with you. I think anyone who's anybody would understand why I would feel this show was a complete waste. If you even watched the show. If you didn't, then you saved yourself a ton of trouble. Anyway, one thing that was good about this show is we had a not a triple threat match. That's next week. Basically, what's going on is Adam Pearce is playing a booking role for booking the matches on the show, and that's really overall his stand on his role on TV at this point. He can't fire anybody, which was proven here tonight. His role is just to book matches on the show. That's it. Everything else beyond that is upper level management above him. So they kind of made some sense of that, which I'm okay with. But, excuse me, sorry about the belch there. Had some food while I was watching the show tonight, so that might have came up on me. Anyway, plain and simple, Adam Pearce is just a guy who books matches on the show, and that's it. Simple as that. Which I'm thankful they finally explained. So tonight, he said that he was going to have 3 single matches, with the winners of those 3 matches facing each other in a triple threat match the next week to crown the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship at the TLC pay-per-view, I'd imagine. So, okay, we get Sheamus and Matt Riddle, because I am not saying fucking Riddle. That just seems so fucking dumb to call him just Riddle. Why would you call him just Riddle by his last name? Every normal person calls them by their first name first and their last name last. Hence, why they say first name and last name. Wow. Amazing concept, isn't it? Anyway, so Matt Riddle and Sheamus faced each other to kickstart the show. With the very first match, by the way. Full of ridiculousness, which I'll get into next. Then we had Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley in a match, which I'll explain why that match occurred. And then for the main event, we had Randy Orton versus AJ Styles in a one-on-one match in the main event, which was the good part. And I'll just get right into that right here and now. AJ Styles actually wins the match against Randy Orton. They had Bray Wyatt as the Fiend appear in the middle of the match with the little eerie sound effects from the soundboard, whatever fucking thing you want to call it. The entire screens, all the screens in the arena went off with Bray Wyatt's Fiend character gimmick and scared the living shit out of Randy Orton. Eventually, Randy Orton was coming close to winning the match, and he was about to hit an RKO. The lights went out completely, reappeared back on, and AJ Styles was on the apron. Randy Orton was distracted, got hit with the phenomenal forearm, and he got the 1, 2, 3, and AJ has now moved on to the next round next week in a triple threat match, which will be the main event. Okay, great. Wonderful. Some change of pace. We now have Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt in a non-title situation, but one problem. We keep building this idea up that we're going to get Randy Orton versus Edge at WrestleMania. What does Edge gain by facing a Randy Orton who's on a losing streak? I don't understand it. Before Edge left WWE because of an injury, Randy Orton was on a tear, ripping apart everybody he came in contact with. Now, he's losing, and Bray Wyatt can't afford a loss to Randy Orton either. This idea sucks. It's great to get him out of the title picture, but at the same time, it takes Randy Orton and Edge's idea of appearing at WrestleMania again completely out of the picture. Completely. Because Randy Orton cannot suffer another loss. He needs to continue a winning streak back up after he's lost the WWE Championship. So that is a given. Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton is great. The idea of them going back to that whole situation where Randy Orton kicked his ass and took away his title at WrestleMania, which was the biggest waste of fucking time I ever seen. Randy Orton should have never won that fucking match to begin with. But point being is that now you're going to put Bray Wyatt in a situation with a guy who needs a win. Bray Wyatt needs a win. They both need a win. They can't lose. It is a complete fucking dumb idea. It's not going to work. At least with the idea of building towards Randy Orton and Edge. So if they plan on doing that, they may want to not. I guess you could say. At this point, Randy Orton better take a back seat with Edge's match with WrestleMania to an end, because there is no need for that match to even occur. At the end of the day, guys, there's no need for Randy Orton and Edge to occur. This is just a wasted out idea that would have worked if Randy Orton continued this winning streak that he had when Edge went to rehab and recover from his injury. At this point in time, Randy Orton is on a downward slope. Let's just put it that way. Quite frankly, I don't really give a shit to see Randy Orton at WrestleMania at this point. I think Bray Wyatt should defeat Randy Orton, move forward, either win the Royal Rumble or become a number one contender for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship at WrestleMania 37, and actually beat Drew McIntyre, which, bottom line, Drew McIntyre should have never lost the WWE Championship to Randy Orton, given the fact that he only carried the belt for like 22 fucking days, less than 30 days. So Drew McIntyre losing the title to Bray Wyatt will sting a bit, being the fact that Bray Wyatt didn't beat him with Drew McIntyre carrying the belt for as long as he should have, which was from WrestleMania 36 to WrestleMania 37. That would have been more impactful if Bray Wyatt was able to beat Drew McIntyre for that title. But hey, it is what it is. But I really feel at this point in time, the best character on Raw to face Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship and win is Bray Wyatt, quite frankly. And he needs to remain a top heel. He needs to be a guy that is scary, intimidating, and can kick some ass. Instead of being some fucking lame-o douchebag who can't get over at all and loses to everybody and just takes unimaginable pain, which I think is fucking retarded. But speaking of The Fiend and his partner in crime at this point, you could say, Alexa Bliss, she had a match with Nikki Cross in a very boring and fucking dumb match, but Alexa really played the I'm changing to Alexa Bliss again and played her like a fiddle, hit the Sister Abigail, modified Sister Abigail, and got the 1, 2, 3. So that was one of the other matches that occurred on this show. So let's kind of go into this show before I run out of time on my phone, because I record everything off of my phone here, and I only have a set of time to discuss these episodes. So let's get right into it. The very beginning, the winning team of the Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series match of Raw, all 5 men were standing there discussing about the situation that happened and their reason behind why they should become the number one contender for the WWE Championship, and yet they were sounding like adolescent children. Really lame fucking segment. Adam Pearce tried to get things under control, but unfortunately things went awry on that, and Braun Strowman decided to get really pissed off when he said last but not least, and he said, I ain't last, blah, blah, blah. He lost his temper, headbutted him. He fell to the mat, and when we came back from break, we got the word from Adam Pearce that he told Braun Strowman to leave the building, and from that point on, we did not see Braun Strowman for the rest of the night. And in retrospect, if it was up to Adam Pearce, he said he would have fired him right on the spot altogether, but he says it's up to upper-level management on what kind of consequences Braun Strowman's going to be facing at this point in time for putting his hands on Adam Pearce. God almighty, speaking of other bad things that occurred on the show, one of which we got the Raw Tag Team title match with the Hurt Business versus the New Day. I gotta say, folks, this is getting really fucking repulsive to see the same freaking match being reproduced over and over again on television, and this is the third championship match that the Hurt Business is getting for the tag team titles against the New Day. Pretty sad. They lost again, and Shelton Benjamin was the one who lost for his team once again. This is getting to the point where my belief is Shelton Benjamin's getting kicked out of the Hurt Business, and that could leave the door open for good old Ricochet. That might actually happen. They might use Cedric Alexander to sway Ricochet to join the Hurt Business, and then have them push Shelton Benjamin out of the group. That's a possibility. I would be okay with that. Let me know what you guys think about that down below on the comments section. Another thing that occurred on this match that really sucked was a double countout. Before there was an actual victory, there was a double countout in the initial match that they had set up. And then the referee gave the tag team champions the option to restart the match so that they could actually win by pinfall. And MVP was requesting this match to restart because he thought the way they had won or lost the match, and they never really won it, they lost by countout. The Hurt Business won that match, but didn't win the tag team title, so he wanted the match to restart so they'd have a chance to actually win the titles instead of just winning the match. So the match restarted, they lost again. They lost with Shelton Benjamin eating the pinfall by Xavier Woods, and that was that. So we had a couple of interferences backstage. One, we had Bobby Lashley interviewing or trying to talk to Adam Pearce about putting him part of the opportunity to compete for the WWE Championship over with him being U.S. champion and being on a winning streak. He wanted to get an opportunity for the WWE Championship, which is why he was one of the guys placed into the 3 singles matches that we saw here tonight, which wasn't much. So then we have Randy Orton interfere with Adam Pearce backstage trying to get another interview with Charlie, and that did not occur. We saw 2 different segments with them showing Braun Strowman attacking Adam Pearce in 1 hour, which I thought was fucking ridiculous. I think once is good enough. Then the announcers started talking about the women's 5-on-5 traditional elimination match where Lana actually won, and my God, they did another backstage interview with Lana talking about her victory, which wasn't much of anything. I mean, how can you be happy with a win like that, just standing on a fucking steel steps where your tag team partners didn't want nothing to do with you in that tag team matchup or even participate in the matchup itself because they didn't feel they needed you at all? That's pretty fucking pathetic and makes her look pathetic in its own right. Quite frankly, guys, you can clearly see Vince McMahon is sabotaging his own company. Because quite frankly, any normal person an elimination matchup would allow this woman to get in the ring, get her ass kicked, and get eliminated so she can't affect the team. That's what I would have done if I was feeling I had a weak link, where if just one pinfall or submission would not have my team lose, I would actually have her get eliminated just so that we wouldn't have to deal with her for the rest of the night. That's what I would have done if I was on that team as a woman. So, and that's just, you get my point. I sound a little ridiculous what I'm saying here, but you know what I mean. You got a weak link on your team, it's by eliminations, it's not by a single pinfall or submission, then there you go. There's no need to have her not participate, have her get eliminated. Don't tag yourselves in, let her get lost so she can get away from this matchup, and you guys can just focus on winning the match itself. So that's what I would have done. Anyway, we had Riddle and Sheamus. Matt Riddle and Sheamus in a one-on-one match. This match was a very decent matchup. They had a matchup, I believe, 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Yeah, I think it was last week. They had a match. It was really good. This one was a little bit lower in quality, which obviously that's going to happen when you have back-to-back matches with two guys who have faced each other once before. This match here would, these two guys here would be great for a storyline build to a major pay-per-view, but we're not going to get that. Sheamus versus Matt Riddle at WrestleMania wouldn't be a bad match. I think that would be pretty good, or have a rivalry matchup, determine who gets a shot to go into the Royal Rumble at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. I think that would have been okay as well. But we're not getting any of that. We're seeing these guys compete 2 weeks in a row, and now we're having to see this where one of them has to lose and not get a WWE Championship match. So Matt Riddle wins this by pinfall, a roll-up pin, which we are getting way too many of those. Roll-up pinfalls I never really had a problem with, but when you're using them on a regular basis, unless it's like a very hyped up, big important match, like for example, if you had like Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar and they spent 20 minutes beating the shit out of each other, and neither one of them could put the other away with a angle slam or an F5, what have you, and they hit it multiple times. For example, like WrestleMania 19, since I'm bringing those two guys up, if they would have done a roll-up pin in that match, I would have been okay with that, because it would make sense. They've hit each other with their own finishers multiple times. Neither one of them want to give up. You tie them up really tight so they can't move. Boom, match over. They really beat the hell out of each other too, so that makes sense for the one person that's in that pinfall not being able to kick out because they're tired and weak. So that would make sense. This is every week we see a roll-up pinfall. By the way, we didn't see Retribution not one time tonight. I forgot to mention that. I didn't even realize that until I just started talking about this fucking review. Wow. Amazing how WWE can make you forget a faction that they were shoving up your ass for several months at a time, and now all of a sudden we don't see Mustafa Ali or any of the members of Retribution appear on the show, and they actually beat the Raw team on the Survivor Series 5-on-5 match. Go figure that one out, because I can't. So, yeah. Riddle wins that match. Keith Lee won his match with Bobby Lashley, which was very forgetful. I did not care for that match whatsoever. It didn't intrigue me at all. We had a backstage thing with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, with her being upset. She wants to beat the crap out of her and beat the Fiend out of her and all that. We have a Firefly Funhouse segment with Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. They have some stupid friendship frog character show up on the freaking segment. Why, I have no idea. he's talking about friendships are very important. They're talking about how friendships are, and you get the point here. And instead of having the rabbit who dies all the time, like Kenny on South Park, we have Friendship the rabbit or Friendship the frog end up dying, getting hit over the head with a hammer or some kind of fucking weapon multiple times by Alexa Bliss. And then they start doing like a memory of Friendship the frog, and showing how he was born, how he grew up, how he graduated from college, and then he showed up on the Firefly Funhouse, and now he's dead. Fucking retarded shit. Over the top, ridiculous, dumb bullshit. What retarded crap. Anyway, we get Lana a WWE Women's Championship match against Asuka. Can someone... and the thing is that Asuka granted her this match. Was it just me, or was it just Asuka looking for an easy win here? I don't know. It kind of looked a little weird to me. We definitely know one thing's happening here. The challengers for the Raw Women's title is very low. Their credibility. And they definitely ain't got no shot in hell of winning this. At beating Asuka. So you know what's coming. Charlotte Flair, the robotic wrestling machine, is coming to town, and she's going to show up at the Royal Rumble and probably win the fucking Royal Rumble and face Asuka for the damn WWE Raw Women's Championship. Or will be even more fortunate, she won't win the Royal Rumble at least, but she'll just show up on Raw one night after the Royal Rumble and challenge Asuka at WrestleMania for the championship. That's the way I see it's going to go down. So yeah, Asuka wins the match, retains the title because of the fact of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler end up having a tag team match with Lana and Asuka picks up the victory by a roll-up pin. Yeah, again, another fucking roll-up pin. I don't quite understand the point of this, and Baszler is the one who eats the roll-up pin and the loss in a non-title match. Wow, what a joke. Alright, so Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee, already discussed that. I'm not going to go into major detail with that. By the way, Keith Lee actually wins by DQ. Excuse me, I didn't even really pay much attention to this matchup, but yeah, Keith Lee won by DQ, so that's how he gets into the triple threat match for next week. And then, and then you screw over Bobby Lashley in that sense, and fuck his winning streak now. Good job, WWE. You're doing great. Nikki Cross, I already discussed with Alexa Bliss. That match ended up being where Nikki Cross loses to Alexa Bliss. From there, we had the main event, which was the AJ Styles versus Randy Orton match. That was the final match on the show. They also showed a little bit of highlights of Undertaker making his announcement for the farewell in Survivor Series, or on Survivor Series, and showing a video package of all of that stuff, plus also what they showed originally before he came out and did his big speech, which wasn't much of anything. So that's pretty much Raw in a nutshell, guys. I mean, you didn't get nothing there was nothing beneficial here. This was a complete waste of time. I don't quite understand what they're doing with 3 hours and not giving us something to bite into. I just... It's mind-numbing just to think how they can throw 3 hours of television on here, and USA doesn't really say anything. I mean, I don't understand why USA has not canceled Monday Night Raw, or felt maybe the need of making them 2 hours would be a good idea. Because this show is doing worse than SmackDown. SmackDown's ratings are far superior to fucking Raw. At least SmackDown gains at least close to 2 million views, or sometimes over that, and yet Raw can't do that. It just blows my mind. So, I have no idea. But anyway, guys, at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a great night, guys. Bye.